Hello, everybody. Welcome to the July, excuse me, uh, Hyperledger, I'm sorry, LFDT Besu contributors meeting. A reminder that we are under an antitrust notice as listed in our wiki. The meeting is being recorded, transcribed, and machine summarized. Please mute unless speaking, and if you have a question, use the raise hand feature. I did not prepare an agenda for this meeting. I think the only things that I have of note that we wanted to make sure everybody heard about was outstanding PR for the charter adoption. That is PR number. Let me get the PR up here. I can post the link in the Zoom. But that is something we need to have everybody weighing in on and taking a look at. It is 8716. So please remind your teams, please remind any other maintainers that you know that are not on this call to take a look at this PR and weigh in on it. I see, Matthew, you have already done that. Thank you. We do have a comment from Sally. Let's see what we have here. Okay, Sally writes in with a question on Section 3 voting. While the project aims to operate as a consensus-based community, if any decision of the maintainers requires a vote to move the project forward, the voting members of the maintainers will vote on a one vote per voting member basis. Her question is, we don't have voting members. Where would this be defined? I assume the answer to that is the maintainers list is the voting members.
So is the implication there just in that every maintainer is effectively a voting member, and maybe that they're just one and the same?
I think that's how I'm reading it, yes.
That's my understanding too, although I know that Scott made some changes. We can ask him to clarify. He made some changes to the standard text to remove the concept of a TSC for Besu and just have it be the maintainer. So that maybe there's some lack of clarity in those edits, but if it's unclear, we can ask him to look at that.
That sounds like exactly what's going on here. I saw those edits and that was what happened. We just need to indicate that voting members are synonymous with maintainers.
Yeah, and maybe that got lost somewhere.
All right. Okay.
One question, if it's all right, Justin, just around, it's kind of tangential to this, but it did make me reread the removing maintainers part of maintainers ND. So I'm just looking at it now. I can't see anything in there about needing a vote particularly. Is that expected?
That's a good question. So typically we handle people. So when maintainers are removed, they're moved to an emeritus status temporarily. Well, actually, they're moved to an emeritus status permanently after, I think it's 6 months without a contribution.
Yeah.
We have not had anything contentious that requires voting. I think you're right, though. I'm not quite sure under this charter how that is arbitrated, if at all.
Yeah, I guess partly because I made a comment on the charter saying, well, it doesn't quite, the wording doesn't quite line up with the maintainer approval process, so maybe we just defer in the charter to the existing process. And then rereading that, I guess that means there isn't anything in the charter where I think it means there isn't anything anywhere which clearly spells out if there is any kind of vote or consensus around removal. Maybe that's fine.
Oh, wait, here we go. I think I found something. A maintainer may be removed by a majority approval of the other existing maintainers.
So any removal PR requires a majority of maintainers to approve.
Sounds that way. I'm looking at line 25 of the charter.
Okay, so this is in the charter. Okay.
Yeah, does that address the question, that line 25?
Yeah, so it sort of does, except I think I propose changing line 25, which I think, Justin, you have done, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So
I see.
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're
So,
right.
so it may be that it just means that in the maintainers MD, we're just missing a little bit of text in there about the removal
The removal. Okay.
requiring a majority approval.
Okay.
If
Good.
if you want me to, I'm happy to raise a PR on the maintainers MD, just save you a bit of admin and link
That'd be
that into
great.
the conversation.
That'd be great, Matt. Thank you.
Sure, no worries.
Cool.
So let me share my screen if I could, so I'm just following along to make sure, because I'll go to talk to Scott, who, if people aren't familiar, Scott's the person on our team who writes and drafts and approves charters. So I just want to make sure I'm giving him the correct feedback. So what I've heard so far, and tell me if there's more, we had this comment about lack of clarity on who the voting members are. So I asked him to clarify that. That's one
Perfect.
edit.
Yep.
And then just to make sure I understand, Matthew, you're suggesting that we change, you were proposing an edit to line 25.
Oh, if you scroll down, you see the actual edit.
Sorry. Okay. Oh, right here. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
me
this one.
editing
so-
it.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah.
Matt's point is correct, is that my edit may have clarified the definition of maintainer, but it then removed the details on
Removing.
right. And I think it's reasonable to move that to the maintainers file.
Okay, so we don't need we're fine. We don't need this in the charter, we think. So we can make this change.
Yeah.
And okay.
I think personally it's good if the rules are in one place.
Yeah, sure.
And I guess if we have a maintainers MD which spells out most of the rules, maybe we just make sure that's complete. I think the risk is if you have it in several places, they just slowly diverge over time.
Sure,
As
and that's
subtle
not
changes
great.
made. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so there's two edits we're proposing. This one and then the voting member one.
And then a third one pending from Matt, actually outlining in maintainers what removal of maintainers means.
Yeah, but that's not in the charter, but a third
Correct.
edit overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But so for Scott in the charter, two edits to the charter.
Uh-huh.
What about this one about document? Does this need to be documentation repo? This doesn't require a change in the charter text, perhaps?
That is a good question, actually. I mean, it would be nice to just have the same charter covering both repositories because it's all the same project, really.
Mm-hmm.
The contributors are different. I think what I will propose to the team is that once we get this nailed down and adopted by Besu, we use that as a starting point for adding to both Besu native and Besu documentation. And in theory, those should just be rubber stamps, right? Because it sounds to me like the repository is kind of like the unit of being governed.
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest thing to do, I guess, is just to copy that from place to place.
Okay, so no charter change needed for
I
this.
don't think so, no.
Okay, great. So if those are the two edits, I can run that by Scott and get his feedback and just share back.
Sounds good.
Or should we wait? Do we feel like there might be additional comments? Do we want to give people time to watch the recording and weigh in, or do you want me to go talk? I guess, do you want me to talk to them now, or do you want me to wait to see if are there people not on this call you think who might weigh in?
There are people not on this call who definitely need to weigh in.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I think that if you want to wait and accumulate this into one big batch to take to to Scott, then yeah, do that.
Okay. What, wait until the end of the week or?
Great question. I'm herding the cats as hard as I can herd them, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm asking for positive affirmation from everybody, so there's a clear indication that they have seen this and looked at it. So I think that's going to be the signal is once that we have all the maintainers with some type of reaction to this PR, we know that everybody's looked at it and we move forward.
Uh-huh. Okay. So I
Cool.
can keep an eye on, so I'll,
Yeah, just watch the PR. You'll get
okay.
notifications on comments.
Okay. All right. And then we'll run these changes in any additional changes by Scott.
Yep.
Great. 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 Thanks.
Cool. That's all I had on the agenda. So open floor. Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss?
I had a small one.
Sure.
Matt, a while back, I only asked because Emily, and for people who don't know, Emily is the person on the LFDT team who runs the blog. She was looking at the blog calendar and just asking me if I knew about any content that was coming in. At one point, if I remember correctly, Matt, you were talking about maybe doing a blog post about the deprecation update. I don't know if that's still of interest or not, or if that's something you want to maybe calendar with her.
Yeah, that's a good question, David. So I think it's only fairly recently that a release has actually kind of enacted some of the sunsetting features,
Uh-huh.
specifically the removal of privacy, which was maybe 25.4, 25.5 around that ballpark. So I think there are still some features left to be sunset. Fast sync proof of work is still in progress. I think Banu
Mm-hmm.
on our side is still working on those. So yeah, we could it wouldn't be an unreasonable time to do a bit of an update blog post to say,
Yeah.
look, we announced we're sunsetting some features. The first major one has gone now, and work in progress on the others. Yeah, I'm happy to collaborate with Emily on that if that's useful. The alternative is to wait until those other features are all closed out, and they're probably
Sure.
smaller, generally speaking, I think, than the privacy removal set. They're kind of smaller, but some of them need maybe a bit more consideration before the PRs can actually merge. But I guess we're probably, let's say, a month out from PRs that remove the bulk of the rest. So we could make a call if we want to defer it by a month and just have a nice clean, hey, those sunset features, they're all now gone.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do a little, here's a progress update.
I don't have a strong feeling about the timing, but I do think it's a good idea to do it because it's been at least, I mean, it was last year we posted about the deprecation,
Yeah, we did
right?
specifically. I think we specifically waited until May the 1st was approximately when we had met the kind of 6-7 month notice period that the blog article set out, because I think it was maybe it was
I
September
don't
late.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when yeah.
Yeah, we were quite conscious of not actually removing stuff until at least 6 or 7 months had passed, because that was what the agreement in the blog article stated. But yeah, it's been quiet on that front since the original article. I guess it has been in every single release note for a new release since then, which
Yeah.
has kept it at the fore of anyone paying attention to that. But yeah,
Hmm.
at the blog level, it's been very quiet since.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, fair enough. I mean, if you're reading the release notes, but yeah, on wider channels, I guess we haven't talked about it. Yeah. Since.
Agreed. Yeah. So I'm happy either way, really. I mean, I'm happy. Do you want to put Emily in touch with me about maybe collaborating on that, or
Yeah, I think there's a thread I can ping. I'll just uh, uh respond to that thread.
sure, if you yeah, loop me in, or yeah, just grab my attention in the right place, that'd be great.
Okay.
Cool. Anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss? Okay. Cool. Well, tell your friends to weigh in on the PR with regard to the charter so we can get that moving. But that's all we have for this month. Thanks, everyone.
Can I just check, Justin? Do you need an approval from all maintainers on that?
Yes, maintainers. If you have maintainer status, this affects you.
Okay, I'll mention it to Barney as well then.
Yeah, it's just you and Banu on that side.
Sweet. Okay.
Great.
Great. Thanks, y'all.
Deal.
Thank you.
Thanks.